All right, and we are live. It's the Dave K Show. Good evening to everybody out there. I am David K. Gyro, and in the studio I have with me Miss Datha Bure. Datha, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you again
You too.
for another show. So we are broadcasting. I have to say this every time our show starts. We are broadcasting from the beautiful banks of Falls River and historic New Roads in beautiful Ponkapee Parish, and we are in the historic Julian Pardris Arts and Museum Center on the third floor at our Dave K Show studio. So we're glad to be out here. We always love to plug Ponkapee Parish. And, of course, South Louisiana in general. So, our show is called The Dave K Show, okay? So, as you know, and the viewers might not know, our tagline is news and opinion from the Bayou State. So, we like to give our perspective as what's going on and all of our guests and everything, from the Bayou State's point of view, right? Because South Louisiana is like no other place on earth, right?
Right.
And aren't you proud to live in South Louisiana?
Of course.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And, of course, there are other beautiful places in the country, but there's no place like home.
Right.
So we are going to talk about a few things today. We're going to be filming this show and another one right afterwards that's going to air later on. So what I want to do, we don't have any special guests in the studio today, but just me and Datha, we're going to be talking, and we're going to kind of be recapping our week this week and talk about some really interesting things that happened to us in the week. So Datha, how did you get past the rain this weekend? What'd you do?
I stayed home.
Smart girl.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Yes. Did your electricity go out?
No, it
Great.
blinked, but they never went out. We did end up having the lakefront property there for a little while.
Right.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yes, it was very, very bad. Yes. So
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be, considering they shut everything down in preparation for a horrible day.
right.
It was just a lot of rain.
What day was that? I'm drawing a blank because
That
I
was
work nights.
that was Thursday.
Thursday. So did your work get shut down? Did you go to work?
Yes. No, I was actually off that day anyway, but yeah, it got shut down.
Right. Well, good deal. So give you a chance to kind of, the rainy weather is always good weather to sleep in. So
Not me. I was cleaning.
there you go. Right. And it's spring cleaning, right? So
It's always spring cleaning at my house. Dave.
right. I hear you. I hear you. So we're going to talk about a few things that happened over the week. So Timmy's going to be in a film coming up pretty soon. He's going to be an extra. So he got a part where he has to wear a tuxedo.
Uh-oh.
So we had to go to New Orleans so he get fitted for his tuxedo. And he got a couple little bumps in there. He got a fitting bump. I think they give you like $25 to go get fitted, and they're gonna throw him in the water in the tuxedo. So he gets $35 for being thrown in the water. So that's pretty cool. So we had to go to New Orleans in all this rain that we're talking about to go do all that. So once again, they kind of hyped this thing up. It really wasn't as bad as everybody said it would be. But so we were prepared for the worst and everything. So we go to New Orleans. We get Timmy's tuxedo, get him all fitted, and we're on our way back. And it makes for a good environment to have some pretty cool conversations with your son or your significant other when you're just driving. There's nothing else to do. So Timmy and I got started talking about different things. We always like to have deep conversations every now and then, Mm-hmm. And so we started talking about our dog that passed away a couple of years ago, Socks. We call him Socks because all of his feet were white. So we called him Socks, S-O-X.
Cute.
So, yes. So he was a little, I don't know what he was. Was he a beagle, Tim, or what was he?
He was your Heinz 57
Right.
classic variety.
Exactly. He had like a long little snout. He was about this big, and he could run as fast. He could run faster than a train. He was, and the thing was, he was always a dog that was meant to be outside. But
Yeah.
we never really had an outdoor place to put him in, so we kept him inside. So every time we'd open the door, he'd dart out, and it would take 30 minutes to go catch him. And he would run and run and run and run, his tongue hanging out of his mouth, till finally he just collapsed. So we go bring him inside. So one day, we opened the door, and then he ran out, and he got hit by a car. And I knew that was going to happen one day. I just knew it.
Can't outrun them cars there, Dave.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. So it was really, really sad, and it hit us pretty hard. Do you have any pets at the house?
I do. I have a dog, a cat, and a turtle. Well, the turtle's at work, though.
Really?
Yeah.
So what are their names?
Marley is a dog.
Okay.
Prince Michael's the cat. Prince is P-R-I-N-T-Z.
Okay. So what's the story behind that?
I don't know. It was supposed to be Prince, like Prince, P-R-I-N-C-E, but
Right.
someone made the suggestion to change it, and it made more sense than Prince Michael.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's
Right.
not a prince.
Really?
No charming for him.
Wow. Okay.
And then I have Myrtle, the turtle.
Myrtle the
Yeah.
Myrtle the turtle.
She's a wildlife and fisheries mascot.
Okay, cool. So what does Myrtle eat for supper?
Myrtle eats waffles and bagels.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I tried lettuce. She would not eat it. She don't like lettuce.
Right. So what do turtles normally eat like in their habitat? Do you know?
I guess grass.
Interesting.
Yeah, you put her in the grass and she runs.
How big is she?
Oh, she's not big.
How did you find out it was a she?
One of the guys at work saw one across the street and saved his life and brought him to me. And they spent the weekend together.
Really?
And that's how I found
Interesting.
out she's a she.
Ah, I got you. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
They had a little extra fun.
yeah, right. Is she about as big as she's gonna get? How big is she?
Well, they grow towards their surroundings, so she's about that big. She's not gonna get that much bigger.
Okay, so you keep her like in an aquarium?
It's in
or-
a cage, like a hamster cage.
Okay.
And we put some folder around it, like to make a little wall so she can't climb out, because she'll climb to the top of it.
Right.
She's trying to escape all the time.
That's amazing. So do you actually sell like turtle food, or are you just
I just feed her waffles.
interesting?
I've always had turtles. I had 2 of them for 14 years almost.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How long do they live? Do they live on average?
50 to 100.
Really?
Really.
So they'll outlive us.
That's right. The box turtles will probably be my grandkids.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is incredible. So I always think about the snapping turtles and the big turtles. They live to be like super long. I mean, as far as age.
Yeah,
That's
tortoise,
amazing.
I think, live 150 years.
That is incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're not going to get any more turtles. Myrtle will just live her life out.
Why not?
So, wait, will you get some more turtles?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
If I knew they weren't going to eat everything, I would get a tortoise. Well, you got to think, Dave. They can't run on the road. You catch them before they even
That's
get
true.
halfway
That's
out
right.
the yard.
Right. So you're gonna have to get a rabbit, and a rabbit and a tortoise, right, and a hare.
I don't want a rabbit.
Right.
Too much trouble.
Right. And they multiply like crazy.
Yeah, we don't need a rabbit. Tortoises, they get big though. A tortoise gets big.
Yes. So the turtles, they have like any smell to them or anything?
No.
So they're pretty clean animals, pretty much.
She sleeps in cypress mulch.
Interesting. That is really cool.
Get her some water and stuff every now and then. She's good to go.
That is really cool. So she's of course separated from the dog and the cat. You know.
She's
so.
met the cat. The cat
Really?
the cat loved her.
So if the cat would try to like tap on her shell, would she like go in her shell?
No, she just walks. She don't care.
Okay.
But they got along really good.
That's interesting. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. To have that combination of pets in the house is really cool.
Yeah.
So your dog.
She's not met Myrtle, and I don't think that'll ever happen.
Okay. So what kind of dog is it again?
She's a Hahn 57, I believe, but
Okay.
she's hound, and she looks more like a tree walker coonhound breed. She acts like them. I mean, I
Right.
think that's what she is.
Right. Where'd y'all get her from?
I adopted her from West Feliciana Animal Shelter.
Awesome. Great. So it's a rescue. Right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
she's my rescue pound puppy.
Wow. What was her state of her physical state when you got her?
She's perfectly healthy.
Really?
Oh yeah, she was
Wow.
quiet when we first got her, and I made the mistake of letting her watch Marley and me, and yeah,
Uh-huh.
Marley and I watched Marley and me, and Marley ended up just like Marley on Marley and me.
Really? Wow.
After I watched it, she come out her shell and was terrible.
Wow, that's amazing.
But
Didn't
she's
take
good
long.
now.
That's
She's
great.
good now.
So is she about as big as she's going to get pretty much?
I think so. She's like
Right.
50 pounds.
Wow, that's pretty big. So
Yeah.
keep her inside or outside? Or?
Right now, she's inside outside. I don't want to put her outside, but she sheds an excessive amount.
Oh, she got long hair?
Oh, no. It's short and it's nasty.
Hmm.
And I am very CDO when it comes to that.
Right.
And so I got to figure something out.
You
with
put
that.
like do you have like a brush that you brush her coat with?
I've tried that. I bathe her, I brush her. She sheds bad.
Wow.
So she's
That's
probably
amazing.
going to be an outside dog before it's over with. And I hate to because she's so well trained. I mean,
Right.
but I got to do what I got to do.
Right. So okay, I want to talk about dogs in particular. So we were just kind of wrapping up the whole animal family at your house. But for dogs, so Marley's the dog's name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Marley, what qualities does Marley have? How do you interact with Marley as a dog, as a pet?
How do I interact with Marley
Right,
Marie?
right.
I like to sing to her.
Really?
Yeah, I sing to her. I have to keep her
Wow.
calm. I've sung to her since she was a baby.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She likes her treats. She won't leave my side. She stays with me all the time. So
Right.
if I leave, she goes crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, we take her hiking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, me and Tim take her hiking. She
That is
loves
amazing.
that. Walked on 2 snakes and not even noticed
Wow.
at Port Hudson. Never even noticed the snakes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So do you notice that she has some type of like intuition or whatever? I mean, dogs, we were talking about this before the show. Dogs are a special breed of animals, I think, because they have senses that we don't have. Their hearing is super sensitive, right? Because you take
Yeah.
a dog whistle and you'll really irritate them with a dog whistle.
She don't pay attention
So,
to that.
Really?
She has a deaf ear to that. There's certain things that I do she chooses to listen to. And if it's something that I'm trying to get her to stop doing, if I'm doing it like the whistle, she won't listen.
Wow.
She's at that teenager stage.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
she's a preteen.
Right. So yeah, I'm just some teens act like they're deaf sometimes. You're right. Exactly. And so dogs have other qualities too because number one, they're very very loyal. Right. I mean, dogs are very loyal animals. They attach to their owners and they almost become part of their personality. It's like you feed off your dog's personality. I find like if your dog were to be in another family, I think it would have different qualities.
Well, that explains why she's so ADD then.
Right.
She fits perfect with me.
Right. Right. And see, that's it. Case in point.
Yeah, she's very hyper.
Right.
But I mean, she's a great dog. I couldn't ask for better. She does everything other than when I need her to do something, like go outside.
Right.
She doesn't want to go outside.
Right.
She's got to jump on the kids in the morning to get ready for school before she goes outside and does her little morning run. Yeah, she jumps hard to wake them up.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. That's all family memories, with the family pet.
Yeah, she dotted Riley's eye yesterday, a day before yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's got a black eye.
Oh, no, golly.
She got sucker punched by the dog.
Jeez. The dog it hit her with her nose?
Her
or
paw.
Her paw.
Oh,
Wow.
she sucker punched the dog.
Jeez.
The dog sucker punched her.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Strike that,
amazing.
reverse it.
That's amazing. You feed her soft food or hard food?
No, it was puppy chow till she turned a year. Now it's just dog chow.
Right. So y'all don't give her a lot of table scraps?
No, I don't. Tim and Riley have a tendency to throw a lot at her. I don't like that very much because she gets used to it and that's what she wants.
Right.
I'm not much on that. I do put olive oil in her food though. It's supposed to be really good for their coats.
Interesting. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Even though she's still shedding real bad. But.
Right. So the food is very important too because if you give them table scraps over the long haul, they're gonna start getting unhealthy, just like we do.
Right. Right.
Heart attacks, all that stuff. I mean.
Unless you can get them to eat like vegetables or something, but I really doubt she would.
Right. Right. It's something worth trying but probably not going to work.
No, I can't even get my kids to eat vegetables half the time.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll eat grass when they're not feeling good so they can throw up too, for sure.
But, or just because.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about earlier about dogs. Dogs are just amazing animals, and I know a lot of times they see things that we don't see. I think they can see sometimes in other dimensions, like cats. Cats can see things, right?
Yeah.
Has your cat ever looked at something in the room and it's like, what are they looking at?
Well, we have we I don't know if it's me and my daughter just overreact a lot, but we hear stuff that freak us out.
Right.
And I think Breeze will have the TV on in his room and we're not realizing that, and he'll lie to us to scare us just to be like that. But
Right.
like we heard somebody laughing and the cat and the dog and me and Riley and Cheyenne all looked at the same time, and
Wow.
it couldn't have been that because Breeze was in his room and I know how he is. So he
Right.
probably had his TV on and was just playing.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Right.
I noticed that they do kind of draw themselves to that.
Yes, that is very interesting.
Super, super sensitive.
Yes, they are, and with the hearing, with the eyesight, and with the smell too is another thing.
Yeah, as soon as they smell a skunk, it is on for the night.
Wow.
Yep.
And that's something we could all smell with the skunk, But it's amazing how they can pick up on scents. And even the trained dogs that the sheriff's office uses, they have cadaver dogs, they have trauma dogs that can sense when something happened in a room.
Yep.
Which is incredible,
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. If we could have some of them powers, it'd be pretty cool.
I know.
So, with the death of our dog, have you ever had a pet? Of course, you had a pet that died before, right? I mean, has anything affected you and the family?
No, I've had so many animals die. Most of the cats was coyotes because we lived in the wood, not in the woods, but in the field. One dog got hauled off by coyotes. That kind of hit us hard.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that was not good.
So how did y'all find out he got hauled off? Y'all found the dog later on?
I found him.
Oh, wow.
He was in the field.
Wow.
Wasn't much left to him.
That's incredible. Wow. So did the kids knew about this?
And I didn't tell them. I mean, they knew later
Right.
on, but we didn't really disclose that to them.
Right. Wow.
It was pretty bad.
So, of course, death is part of life. Last time I checked, being a paramedic, 10 out of 10 people are going to die, or sooner or later, right?
We all got our expiration dates.
Exactly. That's right. We don't know when it is, And so we were talking about earlier about your pets. Whenever your pets die. And this is going back to the conversation that Timmy and I had on the way home from New Orleans a couple of days ago. It's like, we were discussing, and we Christians, we believe in the Bible, of course, and it's hard to talk to some pastors about these kind of issues, and we might have some pastors listening, because I find that a lot of pastors are people who preach and stuff. they will give you a pre-programmed answer about certain things that they were taught in Bible college, but everybody seems to be afraid to question certain things. And it's not wrong to question things because the Bible has everything in it that you need to know. It doesn't purport to let you know everything there is to know.
Just enough to know.
Yes,
it's your guide.
Exactly right. And so, the Bible is not there to tell you about the dinosaurs, about what happened, 100,000 years ago, and about this and that and the other. It tells you about Jesus pretty much, right? So I think it's okay to ask questions and be inquisitive and to want to know things,
Yeah.
And let's face it, a lot of times we can't prove one way or the other, right? I can't.
Right.
So we just don't know,
Well, everybody we've always been under the impression that animals have no souls, which I find that a little hard to believe. Not that I'm questioning anything, but
Sure.
to me, an animal gets mad. An animal's happy.
Yes.
How can you not have a soul if you're happy or you're mad?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So that goes down to what's the difference between the spirit and the soul, right? I mean, do you think they're like one and the same?
Yeah, I
or
think
they
they're one and the same.
The spirit and the soul.
Yeah.
Right. So at the very least, we have to all realize that this may go in a little bit longer than I wanted, but it's interesting. So at the very least, we have to realize that we are beings of energy, right? So we have energy in our bodies. So you ever been in a room and you can just tell when somebody's behind you? And you can feel that person behind you, right? So that's that person's energy, and you're connecting with it, you're feeling it and everything. So that's the thing. Animals have the same type of thing. They don't, of course, they don't. They're not cognizant and aware like we are, of course. But
or maybe they are, just more so.
That's possible too. I have to believe. Okay, so and this is my personal opinion or whatever, but I have to believe that, of course, when we die, our spirit moves on to, we believe heaven or hell or whatever, depending. But our spirits are eternal, right? They're forever. I have to believe that other life forms continue on when they die. I don't have any proof of this anywhere, but I'm just kind of going by, okay, if this is the way that humans are, life is energy that fills our cells up and it powers our brain, right? Animals have energy in their body that powers their brain, and that energy has to go somewheres when a pet dies, right? Mm-hmm. And to me, it's just not right to say it just fizzles out into nothing. What's your thought on that?
I don't think. I mean, I don't think it would be that way.
Right.
I think in the Garden of Eden back in the day, they used to talk to the animals.
They sure did.
So
that's right.
I don't think that it would be. They have a purpose.
Right. I think so. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. They do have a purpose, and even the Bible talks about animals in heaven, right? It talks about horses.
They talk to you up there too.
Exactly.
Of course, you'll have to die to find out, but
right.
we don't want to do that right now.
Right, exactly. Heaven's a place that everybody wants to go, but nobody wants to die to get there.
No, because death is scary.
Right, but
it's an adventure.
Let's
but
talk.
It's scary.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about death being scary because this is kind of what we were leading up to. Should death be scary?
Well, I don't think it's death in its sense. I think it's how it happens.
Right.
That's the scary part.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to be shot to death. Most people want to die in their sleep.
Yes.
Because you're sleeping.
Sure.
You never wake up.
It's an easy way
You
to go.
don't want to go through pain.
Right.
And
exactly. And so what I was talking to Tim about too is when you look at linearly speaking, like time, that people say, the scientists say that the universe is like 13.6 billion years old, give or take, since the Big Bang happened, everything exploded onto the scene at once.
Everybody thinks they know everything.
Right. But regardless if it's 13.6 billion, it's very old. Whatever age it is, the universe is very, very old. And so that being said, if the universe was, a billion years old, how often, what's the average lifespan for a human? 76 years?
I would say maybe 90. I mean, most people live to their 90s, 80s, 90s.
Right. I think maybe like in civilized countries we can go a little bit higher, but I think overall average is like 76 years old. But still, that's 70 to 90 is a 20-year difference. That's still in the big scheme of things. When you're talking about the universe being in existence for billions of years, and you and I's existence is only like 70 years of that, billions of years, right? It kind of puts things into perspective a little bit. Now, this is the question that I had, and I'm going to have to ask my pastor this one of these days. He might be watching. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him this one of these days. I don't want a pre-programmed answer from Bible college. I want something that we're thinking about. Okay, so your spirit is eternal, right? In other words, you're going to live on forever. After you die in this earthly body, you will live on forever, right?
Right.
Is that what you believe?
Mm-hmm.
So
If you're right, well, even if you don't do right, it's still meant that way.
all right, wherever you go,
Yeah.
it'll be forever.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, if your spirit is eternal, eternal means something that's forever, right? It goes forever that way, and it goes forever that way. It's eternal, right? Okay, so my question is where was your spirit before you were conceived?
I mean, I believe everybody is in heaven before they come down. Everybody
Right.
is set to do a certain task.
Yes,
That's why we're here.
that's right, exactly.
You just have to figure out what it is.
Sure, but before you were conceived, though, and it's just a question I have. I'm not saying one or the other. Where was your spirit? Because if your spirit is eternal, it had to be somewheres before it got into your body and became you.
Well, you would be in heaven.
Right.
But see, that would be a question you'd have to ask God when you get there. Kind
Exactly.
of like I want to ask Adam and Eve, why eat the freaking apple?
Right.
And then pop their heads together and slap them a couple of times.
Exactly.
Like, duh.
Right. See what you did to mankind?
Really?
Right.
Think.
Right.
If we do this again, think.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think it was also. You all start off in heaven. The Lord
Right.
has a specific spot for you to be, and that's where you're meant to be.
Yes. And what you're
You-
saying goes perfectly with what Tim was saying. Remember, Tim, you were saying how the Bible says that before I knew you, he knew what your purpose and plan was. Before you were born is what he was saying. Well, wait, hang on a second. Before I was born, God knew me.
Well, yeah.
Then I must have existed before I was born.
Well, you did. And I mean, he's got
Interesting.
everybody's path set. It's you who chooses to take it. And even if you think you're taking the wrong path, how do you not know that that's the path that you're set to take?
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And a lot of people do bad things, and a lot of people learn from the people that do bad things.
Right.
So,
Right. What you're saying segues into what I was kind of wanting to go in after that. Is so people get tied up like in their purpose. I want to know what my purpose is for this life. So what they're looking at when they say their purpose is, I find, is like this majestic thing on a mountain where this is where, but my purpose is like this right here. I need to be like either famous or I need to have a lot of money, and I'm building up to the big thing in my life. I don't know if it's like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so.
Purpose is just be somebody's guide, I think. You guide them to take the right choices, make the right decisions.
Right.
A good person.
Sure. And to do the things that you were made to do, right?
Right.
They may not be huge and grandiose or whatever, but it's like the things that you were made
Most
to do.
people that have a successful life right now that are billionaires and living like that, I don't know that their life will be that grand when they get to heaven. You've lived a good life, but you also lived it with a lot of things a lot of people didn't have the option to get.
Right.
So will your life be that way when you get to heaven?
Interesting.
I
Right.
mean,
Yes, very interesting.
I'd have to read up on that too.
It's very interesting, yes.
I actually started reading the Bible not too long ago. I'm
Right.
only on Genesis 22.
There you go.
It takes a while, but it's the newer version of it where it explains it because I
Yes.
go to Healing Place Church.
Okay.
I love it.
Cool, yeah, great church.
Yeah, me and my kids started going maybe 6 months ago, maybe longer.
Great.
But I started reading it, and the stories are very interesting.
Right, especially in Genesis, because there's so many things to be gleaned in Genesis. Whenever you find out really what it describes the early part of mankind as, like what interesting thing that I found out about Genesis is that between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2, remember when God told Adam and Eve to replenish the earth?
Mm-hmm.
What does the word replenish mean?
Make more.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
Make more again, which means it had to have been done before. So before Adam and Eve,
Well, maybe he had a trial run before Adam and Eve.
before Adam and Eve, the Bible says, according to that there was mankind and there was a civilization before. Because remember, even Satan was thrown down into heaven before Adam and Eve came along. He appeared as a snake in the garden,
Yeah,
right?
old greedy thing.
I know. So
I don't know that. I mean, I read up on it, the Genesis chapter, and you know that they used to live 900 and something years.
yes, they did.
You know, at some point God said, well, people are, they're getting tired of who they're with. 900 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So bad things are happening with these people because they're living this long. They're getting tired of who they're with, and they're starting to wander into other things.
Right.
So he dropped the life expectancy down to 120.
Interesting.
So 120 years.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting. And I think there was a physical cause that happened, because God didn't just say, okay, I'm going to drop it down. I think he made physical changes in the Earth's atmosphere to make that happen. because you remember when the Earth had like a vapor canopy over it, and the pressure. Scientists were saying before the flood, the pressure on the Earth was like really, really
Well,
high.
hold on. Scientists believe in the flood now. Before, Noah didn't exist. Now they believe it?
Well, the
What
ones that do,
changes?
the ones that do believe in it,
Okay.
right? The ones that do, the creationist scientists,
Okay.
not the secular scientists.
Okay,
the
because I was going to
creationists.
say.
No, the Christian creationist scientists.
Okay.
So what they're saying is like when the and there are other planets like this too right now that have a vapor canopy on them, and the pressure is very high. So what that meant was the oxygen levels in the bodies were pushed into the cells more because of pressure. Like bariatrics, we have like we take people with injuries and we bring them into the bariatric chamber where the pressure is real high, and it forces oxygen and makes their wounds heal faster.
Do they they age in there?
They don't age, no, but
Oh.
their wounds heal very fast.
Do you know that if we go into space, that if I had a twin of me and they stayed on Earth and my other twin, or I, the twin, went to space, that I would come back and they would be like 25, 50 years older than me? I would have not aged at all.
That's true. That's true. That's the time-space continuum. Exactly
I
right.
don't,
Yes.
you know, if they really want to make money with that, plastic surgeons suggest space travel.
Right, exactly.
You could charge
Right.
people so much money. You just stay up there for 5 years and it will knock how many years off your life?
Yes. That's true.
I copyright that, by the way.
That's true. And so the whole thing with that is so it's the not theory, but it's true. So it's the
Well,
faster.
how do you know it's true, though? Has anybody actually
Yes.
tested that?
Yes.
Who?
Every day it happens. You don't even know about it. It's called the GPS satellites. The satellites that orbit our Earth go 22,000 miles per hour. They go very, very fast. So they have onboard clocks that sync up with the clocks on the Earth. So as the GPS satellites are going very, very fast around the Earth, time on the GPS satellite slows down by microseconds. So they have to adjust the time on the clocks of the GPS on the job of the Earth so they can sync.
What about the people that are in the space station?
Same thing for them, although it's just microseconds. It's not that much, though, because you'd have to go a lot faster.
Okay.
But what you're saying is exactly right. It's exactly right. This is another very, very intriguing thing. You're just segueing into everything I had in my mind. So you remember a couple weeks ago, NASA came out with the first image of a black hole.
Yeah, it looked like
remember
a fuzzy eyeball.
Right.
Like, nobody knew it was going to look like that. People really.
Right. But
I mean, Star Wars had a black hole.
Right.
That was in the 70s.
Exactly right. Oops. Right, but so it did look fuzzy, but it was an actual photograph. Of course, they used all these observatories around the world, and the weather had to be exactly perfectly on all these observatories, and they took the picture at the same time and processed it and everything. But the concept of the black hole was actually proven, they were saying, and we can actually now see one. So this is another thing that was very interesting. Like when people have near-death experiences, and I've read a whole lot of accounts for near-death experiences, everybody always seems to have similar stories. So when people die, for whatever cause, first of all, it's the tunnel that they go through, right? So it's this tunnel, and they're going toward the light. Okay.
Somebody said that you're coming back as another life.
Well, we don't know. We've never been there.
I don't believe in all that. But.
Right. I don't think so either. That's another thing I wanted to discuss too. We got a lot of things we got to unpack on this episode here. So a lot of people experience the tunnel of light, and they also say that their whole life flashes before them in an instant. From the time they were born till now, it's not even like it's time. It's like everything happened at once. Their whole life just flashes by. And to me, what that signifies is the absence of time. Okay, so when they're entering into another dimension, there's an absence of time. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Because whenever you see your life flashing before your eyes, everything happens all at once. You just at a state of existence. You don't experience time. What's your thoughts?
I've had my life flash before my eyes. I wasn't dead, but I was close enough to know that I could have been.
Right.
And I don't know that it's just that, or it's just your mind going back around everything you did to where you've done something wrong.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know about all that.
Right.
I kind of like the stories of the people that die on the table and they see Jesus.
Right.
Those are better.
Right, exactly. And those stories in the operating room were very interesting, too, because a lot of people who had near-death experiences can actually tell you what the people in the room next to them are saying. They heard everything that they were saying, and it's true, because. Yeah. And I'll tell you a real interesting experience that I had on the ambulance a while back, which is very, very weird. So we were called out to a little lady who had died at a house here in New Roads, and she was in a wheelchair, and they found her slumped over in a wheelchair. And so, of course, we go out there with all our equipment and everything. So the very first thing that I want to do is I want to feel her pulse in her neck to make sure I feel a pulse. And I didn't feel a pulse. And so I put her on the heart monitor. While she was still slumped over in the wheelchair, I put her on the heart monitor. I didn't want to just drag her on the ground. And so she was flatline. And so we got all the information to say that longer than 10 minutes she had been like this, which means we can't do anything for her.
Mm-hmm.
While I was assessing her, I felt her presence. I'm not going to lie to you. It was on my left side. I could feel it. And it's like I just knew that her essence and her presence was just like lingering for a little bit. And it gives me the chills thinking about it, but I'll never forget that day. Out of all the people I've transported, I've had several cardiac arrests that I've worked where I thought about maybe this person's kind of looking at us from the ceiling, kind of just like hanging on till everything happens. Either you live or you die. But it's real interesting that I felt some kind of a presence with that lady in that wheelchair. It was so weird. It was just interesting, and I know what I felt was true. So... it's just interesting. So talk about the black hole again. Let's go back on that. So the black hole is whenever a star collapses, and so all of that mass starts getting crunched up into a small little ball till it gets real, real small, and it's just super, super heavy. And now they say that the gravity is so tight that not even light can escape, right?
Have they flown out there and found this out, or they're just saying this based on assumption?
It's not on assumption. It's based on smaller models of that happening. Like when stars they've saw stars that have exploded like 300 or 400 years ago. They could see in the daylight.
I know. I've heard they last a long time.
Yes, and so there's just like remnants in space, But they see it all the time. The stars collapse and then they explode. It happens all the time.
So
they collapse and they explode.
They know where this black hole is. This said black hole. Why don't they send something out there and see what happens on the other side?
Well, it's too far away. You're never going to do it.
If they can take a picture of it, they can find it, they can go to it.
Right, I hear you.
They can do it.
So the thing with the black hole is, so I guess you could say theoretically, but it all makes sense mathematically when they plug in the numbers. So when the gravity on the black hole is so, and the reason I'm saying it is because I think it has to do with interdimensional spiritual concepts. Because you have to admit that this physical world that we live in is not all there is.
Oh, I don't think it is. There's too many universes out there to be questioned.
Thank you.
Even, I mean, maybe there was other forms of life before us that God used as a trial run.
Sure. Yeah, we don't know.
We might be a trial run.
That's true.
You don't know until the end.
But you don't know.
No.
So this black hole, like I said, light can't even escape it. So at the surface of the black hole, they call it the event horizon, and that's the part where if there's objects that are floating around the black hole, they'll get sucked into the surface, and that's the point of no return. Once it passes the surface, it goes straight into the middle of the black hole where it's infinite.
But nobody knows what happens at the inside.
That's what I was going to say. Nobody knows what happened. What they say is time becomes infinite, or it stands still, and you're just in a state of existence. And they say it may be a wormhole that comes out to another area of the universe somewhere, which is possible.
They need to get us a rover out there stat.
Right, exactly. So, but I thought about it, though. I'm going like, that sounds really, really interesting because it's almost the same as these near-death experiences where people, they see their life flashing in front of them, and they enter in a state of existence. Well, that's almost the same thing as the center of a black hole is whenever time and gravity are infinite, and you just become in a state of existence. And it's just really cool to see how all the physical stuff works out into the spiritual stuff.
Right.
So we're about 35-minute mark. We're going to go just a little bit longer. So anyway, that's a deep conversation that Timmy and I had, and it's like. Another thing is like you're saying, do you think there was ever life or there is life on any of the billions of planets out there?
You would have to be crazy to not think that because there's just so much out there. You don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Exactly. So we have to look at the probability.
There's a probability.
Yes,
and there may not be, but
right.
There's a lot of things that may not be, but it's better to think that way to me.
Right.
Just
Sure,
you're not the lonely ones out here.
Exactly. I'm all about having an open mind, and a lot of Christians, especially the pastors, will say, "No, there's no life out there." But like I said, you don't know.
Not life. I'm just saying other places like this.
Right. But I do believe.
But nobody really knows that for a fact.
You can't prove it or disprove it.
You know what I mean? And there's certain things in the Bible that make you think that way.
Right. I'm to the point where I do believe that. There's life in the universe. It may be bacterial, microscopic life, whatever.
Well, didn't they find ice on Mars?
Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm.
So carbon and water is what you need for life to form. That's exactly right. So Very, very interesting, because we were talking about this again too, before the show started. Is like, when I turn 50 years old, I'm getting older. We're not getting any younger, and it's like all the days of your life.
That's a good soap opera.
Yes, yes, it is. All the days, if you had all the days of your life that you could put on a piece of paper and stack them up in tablets, and here's all the infinite days of your life you have to live. You know what? No matter what age you are, whatever you want to do, get involved with what you want to do it, have fun, get your whatever you're designed to do in your life, get out there and just start doing what you want to do, right? I mean, don't waste time just goofing off. I think we need to make every minute count. I'm guilty of it still all the time because I get tired sometimes. I kind of procrastinate,
Yeah, sometimes doing the things you love to do is with the people that you love doing it with. My kids, Tim.
Yes.
That's the best time of my days almost. Exactly. Every day spending it with them.
That's awesome, yes. And that's quality time with your loved ones.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, especially the kids because they grow up too fast.
Right.
I mean, Riley's going to be 15 and it just hurts. It hurts bad.
Yes, it does.
She's going to be wanting to drive. No, first of all, she's not driving with me. She's too heavy on the brake. Second of all, I'm just not ready for that.
Right.
I got in a really bad wreck when I was 17. I learned my lesson the hard way, and some people are not fortunate to live through their lessons that they need to learn. That I did, and my poor kids. When they start driving, it's going to be a constant, you can't do that.
Yes. So her next milestone will be her license, and then...
Oh, no, she'll be 17 when she gets her license.
Okay.
Right. Mama has said that is it, no. And that's all three of them.
Okay.
You learn more if you wait.
Right. And and then after that, the next milestone will be graduation, of course. And you are going to let her graduate, I'm sure. So.
Oh, no.
It comes fast,
I don't want her to grow up. I want her to
know.
stay my baby. All of them. You know?
I know. You're nostalgic, just like I am. That's why I take pictures. Take video all the time, and just go back and have fun, reliving all those times.
I know.
Because they pass by so fast.
All mine are on a video camera, and there's this website that you can go to now that you can convert it to a disc or a thumb drive.
Yeah.
I gotta send them out because
yes,
I haven't watched them in forever, and there's some seriously cute stuff on there that Riley and Cheyenne did.
Right.
Breeze too, but Breeze was more the iPhone baby.
Mm-hmm.
He was at that age where the iPhone was out, so it was kind of like,
right.
You had it right there. Riley and Cheyenne, yeah.
Yes.
It's time to go down memory lane. It's gonna be funny 2 days.
Oh, it is. It's gonna be amazing. And it's just like you almost just long to be back in that time, And it's just wow. For the past 6 years of my life, I carry my GoPro with me everywhere, and in most of the days, I have on video. It's something that we've done. And just those things you can't get back once they're gone,
Right.
So that's why I encourage everybody. You do it too. Take pictures, video, get your phone out.
Yeah, and if y'all do that, put it in a Ziploc bag in the event that there's a flood.
Right.
I'll put everything in a Ziploc bag.
Yes.
Everything.
Good idea.
And a fireproof safe.
Good idea.
You never know.
That's right.
Never
know. That's exactly right. Yep. All right. Well, good deal. So, any other highlights of your week this week that happened? We had our little talk, me and Timmy. That was a highlight of my week.
Traffic. Traffic is the highlight of my days.
Right.
Every work day.
So
not a day goes by.
So where you work at, so you probably would benefit from the loop or the bridge or whatever they want to build going into Baton Rouge.
I think they need to put 5 bridges, double deckers, and be done with it.
Right.
Or give us helicopter trips across the river.
Right, that would be fun, right? Right.
It's terrible.
We probably have to pay for it. So
it'd be worth it.
Yes. Does it take you a long time to get back home from work or to work?
No, I found as many shortcuts as I can to bypass all that crap because there is a lot. If I sat there, Perkins Road alone was costing me about, I think it took me 30, 45 minutes, some days 60 minutes just to get from Quail Drive to the end of Perkins.
Wow.
And that's ridiculous.
That is.
So I figured out a way around all that.
Right. Well,
and then you get on the interstate, and that's a different story on its own.
Right.
There had a lumber truck. Was that last week? That hit the curve. I don't know. A lot of people call it Dead Man's Curve because so many people's been killed on it.
Right.
Trying to bypass an accident and lost half his load onto the bridge below.
Wow.
So shut down the interstate on one direction and then shut it down in the other direction. And let's just see what happens.
Wow.
It's terrible.
Jeez, people are nuts, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, he just had stuff tied down a little bit better. It probably wouldn't have ended so badly, but
Right.
at least nobody got killed.
Right. That's the positive. And you got home safe, too, so that's good.
I got past it before it got bad.
Yes. All righty. Well, so you had a pretty uneventful week, sounds like, so that's very, very good.
Other than traffic, every week's
Exactly.
uneventful.
Right. Right. So, and my week was relatively uneventful, too, so it's good to have those conversations every now and with your kids, And
And if anybody's looking to go out next weekend, it's set to rain again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Jeez,
60% Saturday and Sunday.
again.
It's gonna
Wow.
rain again.
All righty. Well, we have had a great episode. So hopefully all the listeners and viewers out there got the chance to kind of know a little bit more about me and Datha, kind of what we go through every day and kind of what we think about certain things. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down. Datha, is there anything else that you want to... I tell you what, why don't you put a plug in for PointCoupieReporter.com one more time?
Oh, yeah. PointCoupieReporter.com is a good source to find out news on the net about Point Coupie. Listing links to articles about Point Coupie from area media, from specialties, but you'll find original articles too there. So dial them up on the web at PointCoupieReporter.com.
Yes.
Check it out. It's pretty cool.
That's a great website. So we're cross-promoting each other on our platforms, so we should be on the right banner on the front page, this episode and the next one. So make sure you check them out and find out about all the news that Point Coupie has through PointCoupieReporter.com. All right, we're going to wrap it up here, Datha. It was nice being with you.
You too.
All right, and we'll see everybody out there later on in the next show.